we need. Yeah.
Bigfoot
Definitely.
FC, get them
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
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 But Chris, I mean, I'd love to get. I feel like we haven't talked about Vermont Green enough for this lovely Vermont Green podcast. So I think you offer a unique perspective. Obviously, we're up here in the Northeast. You're kind of in it, and when you kind of at least look at the conversation around Vermont Green, especially up here, a lot of it is their success. Obviously, being able to get the championship and build this atmosphere. At this point, it's almost constant calls for them to move professional. What's overall maybe been from your landscape as an outside perspective, looking at the league as a whole, the response to kind of Vermont Green's success and just what they've been able to do in a short period of time?
Yeah, so I mean Vermont Green, and you talked about it a little bit, and with adding Vermont Green, Ballard, Annapolis, those kind of teams to that top echelon of USL2, and the answer is absolutely. The immense, I mean, I think there was a picture of it was a different field that people had climbed up to the top of the bleachers to then turn around and watch the game. That's not something you see even in some of those other cities. I mean, Ballard has the people that will climb up on their trees, but that it's such a crazy thing. And yeah, as much as I think a lot of people would absolutely love Vermont to go pro, obviously I'm not up there. I'm not talking to them, but from an outsider's point of view, their goal to be carbon neutral, I believe, is impossible whenever there's a chance, not a chance, there's a guarantee that you're going to be flying to Spokane, to Lane County, Oregon, to Lancaster, California. And I don't know how many Burlington to Lancaster flights there are. I don't know how many Burlington to Spokane flights there are. So that means you're going to have to bus somewhere, fly somewhere, and then bus there, or take three different flights. And so it's very hard to see Vermont Green going professional with that, but that doesn't mean it's not impossible. USL One's goal is regionalization, and they are seemingly getting close with the fact that there should be 21 clubs next year. And I know I would love to see it. I mean, y'all, Des Moines, Peoria, Ballard, Annapolis. I could name 20 different clubs that I would love to see in a professional rank. But the thing is that attendance doesn't mean a team should go pro, and that is something that I and others have tried to harp and harp and harp on. In fact, the last Talking USL2 episode that was uploaded was with Alex Ashton of USL League One Updater, and we kind of went down the list of possible teams to move up, what makes it viable to move up, what doesn't. And one of the biggest things is yes, attendance helps, but you also need to remember it's a lot easier to get 5,000 people hyped about 6 to 10 games over the span of 3 to 4 months than it is to get 5,000 people hyped about 15 to 25 games over the course of 8 to 10 months. And that's one of the big things that we try to harp on. But I mean, y'all guys have attendance nailed down. The next thing would potentially be a stadium and then ownership as well. So yeah, I don't know what the ownership looks like exactly up there, but you guys might already have that checked off too. So you just need a stadium and to not want to be carbon neutral.
I'm
Yeah,
not going to speak. I'm not going to speak for the ownership group. They generally they call themselves founders versus ownership group because versus owners because owners just has that kind of millionaire billionaire connotation to it, and they like to say founders, and it's just because like they built this club for the community. And Burlington is in whether it is the biggest city in Vermont or not, and the biggest in the only metro area in Vermont, with the rest of the surrounding cities. Um, it is a small town. It's a small community, and it's a small town feel. And whether you're you're the Vermont Lake Monsters, a minor league baseball team, or well, contracted minor league baseball team now, or you're the Vermont Green, or one of the other teams that has been here in the past. This community, this city, kind of latches onto that stuff, and they really and they really support those teams. Like sport in Vermont is it's big to us. We always in Vermont play with a little chip on our shoulder, but the owners themselves, I don't want to really speak for them as far as their ambitions or anything go, but I really feel like they just want to create a fun atmosphere, a successful team, and to be able to have that team survive for more than just a few years, because we have had pre-professional teams here before in this area, and they just didn't survive. And I think that they right now have kind of they've put the recipe together and they've started to cook, right? And I think that that cake is just going to get bigger and bigger. And I don't know. I don't want, like, again, I don't want to speak to their ambitions, but I think that maybe the professional leagues, it is something that they're looking for or looking to in the future. But I don't think that um, they have even an inkling of a feeling that they're in any way, shape, or form ready to make that jump. And I think they're good, just kind of staying in their lane for now, and they're getting the recognition that they need and want for the club, the community, the city, and the sport. So, and the team where it lies, in the league where it lives, and I think that's a great thing. And I think they just kind of want to stay in their lane and just do what they're doing because it's successful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, in in looking at like the USL Discord, every time you're in like the USL 1 channel, there's always like someone going like, "Oh, Vermont Green to USL 1," and then there's like the automatic GIF that comes up, "Don't make me tap the sign." Um, you know, I like, you know, I think that there is maybe not here in Vermont amongst, people who really follow this team very closely. There's this kind of idea that if Vermont does not go pro, that like something has gone wrong, or that that's something that is a failure for either the team or for the ownership. And like I just really don't think that any of them look at it that way. This is you know a team that has a rabid fan base that is super well supported. They're really working hard on getting their women's team out, which they have always stated from the get-go that that has been, a huge priority for them as well. I just don't feel like there is any need at all for them to try and rush to go professional, if that's even something that they want to do in the long term. Um, you know, there is no reason why, you can't have, years and years of uh, parties in the stands with green smoke and tifos, and who cares if you're not playing in pro leagues? It's still so much fun.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and like Chris said, and we've talked about just being able to somehow be a carbon neutral club that is professional just seems nearly impossible. I mean, you can probably put a lot of money into certain initiatives, but if you're flying across the country, you're flying across the country. So it's going to be difficult to see, how they handle all this success. And like it's been said, moving up to professional doesn't mean that all of a sudden you've made it. I think being able to build a community